Good. All right, good evening everyone. How are we going? Happy New Year. Welcome to the Queensland Branch AEVA January Hall meeting. Don't know why I'm getting feedback, but let's keep going. Testing. Testing. Oh, good evening, Nathan. All right, we've got a few new faces in the room tonight. Welcome along. Toilets are just down that hallway if you need to. First night's free. Membership. Come and see me if you would like to sign up and continue coming and seeing this type of content. Tonight I'm going to do some talk about the EV sales for 2023, the results, have some of that data, and then I'll do my normal talk about the new infrastructure that's come online, some EV events that are coming up, and some general EV news, and then we'll have our presentations from Graham and the gentleman at the back with the seal who turned up tonight with his brand new car, so that's lovely. I've done that slide, mate. Oh. Come on. We'll get more professional. 2020. It's been a few years now and I don't know what the trend line looks like. All right, 2023 sales, let's just rip through this. So in Australia, we sold, or people bought 87,430 fully electric EVs in 2023 and 11,000 PHEVs. The top graph there is just how the sales were across the year. Pretty steady, 1,500. In Queensland though, Queensland itself, we sold 18,500 fully electric vehicles and 2,000 PHEVs, approximately 1,500 a month there. The chart here shows that we have about 360, 350 EVs in the suburbs with the highest EV count. That's the Gold Coast and Kenmore Way. So two affluent locations where the population is the highest, so that's no real surprise. And the top three EVs sold made up 65% of the model sold. So the Y, the 3 and the Atto 3 at those percentages there.
I heard the Model Y was the top selling car out there.
Well, Model Y, I think it's sixth, I think it was. Sixth in the total, I think, from what I remember. So I just popped these numbers on here. There's actually quite a good website. If you actually just type in EV sales, there's a website, I think it's run by the AAA, and they have, I think the link's on the actual next slide, but there's a lot of info on there, and it's very handy to check out this type of stuff. But the website allows you to look at all the vehicles. So in 2022, there was 900,000 ICE vehicles sold, and with those totals, it adds up to the EVs added up to 3.8% in the total. So there's the actual total cars sold for the year. So you can see we more than doubled the EV on the road, or registered, to 8.4%, 8.5%, which is quite healthy trend when you're doubling year on year, roughly. If we can just go to the next slide. My brilliant drawing skills here, because the chart, this is Queensland Government or what's the motoring body? TMR normally publish this, but they didn't publish the October 2023 one. So anyway, I just hacked this one, but that's essentially where the sales are, to give you, so that's January 2020, January 2023, in December 2022 we're at 15,000, and now we're at around 35,000 just for Queensland. So that's pretty good. That's pretty good, and that's pretty much why you see EVs wherever you drive, I think. Just a model breakdown very quickly. You know, just like a little bit of colour, you know. So, no labels or anything, just work it out for yourself type of situation. The MG4, this big slice here, obviously didn't have a full year of sales, so given 12 months, that chunk of pie would be quite a bit larger. Same with the BMW and the Aura Cat and the Cupra Born. But yeah, dominating with Model Y, Model 3 and Atto 3. I expect the MG4 and the Seal will have a large impact on that chart for next year, because they're both very good offerings. We'll see. Well, really, it'll be really interesting to see how the Model 3 and Y sales go, whether they lose their market share and we see more of those, or people just don't buy the alternatives to Tesla. So
I suggest that they lose market share, but they won't lose volume.
perhaps, yeah. But their volume's been growing, so if they don't lose, if they stay roughly the same, then yeah. Anyway, comparatively.
Another double, so
I mean, it's been over 50% for Tesla for years, hasn't it? So,
like America.
yeah. Righto, new and or updates on new infrastructure. So I tend to go north to south. What I thought I'd do this time would be just give you a quick flashback to 2019. This is the DC fast chargers in 2019 that I could remember when I got my EV. So as far as I could remember, there was only 11 chargers in southeast Queensland. So we had on the Sunshine Coast we actually had a supercharger. In the city we had the supercharger. Broadbeach we had the supercharger. We had Charge Fox open the 350 at Toombul, and we had the rest were pretty much Queensland Electric Superhighway chargers that the Queensland government installed around 2017, 2018. So a bit ahead of the curve there. But now, if you just go to the next slide, you know, I didn't list them because I just said lots now, right? And Toowoomba has 5. So I think it's just a nice little graphic to show the difference between now and then, because perhaps at a certain point I'm not going to have to go through every new charger that's opening, and perhaps it's getting a little bit boring, I'm not sure. But I'm going to do it because someone said last month or whatever that they liked it. So, all right, let's go. Oh, of course. I actually put a lot of effort into these displays, just letting you know. It's very time consuming, right? All the free chargers are offline. I don't need to say any more, right? This went offline this week. This came online a few months ago, almost went off straight offline, back online, back off this week. So I don't know what the Uber drivers are doing now. They're going to have to pay. They're going to have to pay, all right? Okie doke, what's next?
Maybe QUT will change the strategy and actually get people to pay.
Well, no one will use them there, will they? Right, north to south, or roughly north to south then Queensland. So up on the Sunshine Coast at Warana. Do you mind turning that on if it drops out? It's not. It's good at the moment. Yeah, just hit the switch and then on and then off again, or off and then on again. Thank you. Now I hadn't seen this Autel charger before. It's a dual CCS 80 kilowatt. And it has a huge swinging arm on the top. Les is scrunching his nose up, he doesn't like it. No. But if you could just go to the next slide, Leslie.
Looks like a Korean model.
I got the cropping a little bit wrong for this one. Maxi charger, DC high power. This model does up to 640 kilowatt. So that is dual 320. I think I worked it out that was 600 amp or something like that. Anyway, 415 three-phase, I think. That is that's exciting. Yeah. So once upon a time, I went to
actually charge that fast.
Cybertruck.
No truck I can buy yet.
You're going to help me get some buses to when they roll out one of these, and we're going to. Yeah. Yeah. Look, we'll do it. We'll do it. Well, I charged on the two 350s at Coochin Creek. I did two Model 3s, and we did 190 on each. So that site was doing 380. I'm relatively sure the Indooroopilly V3 supercharger would actually push that if it was fully loaded. I don't know how the load sharing happens on superchargers, but but maybe some softwares. I have seen one car charging at 250 there, so yeah, maybe. All right. Hopefully, well, you can see companies are starting to move away from the tritium product. Not so much in this display, but you can start to see new ones coming online. BP Caboolture, north and southbound. This is an existing site. They've put two chargers in there now. It hasn't been open all that long, really, maybe a year or so, and they've decided to upgrade. Once again, these are 150 kilowatt chargers derated to 75. So maybe we'll see speed increases in the future.
Is that all over to you in the John?
No, it's a sign. EV networks rolling out month after month, aren't they? So the Burpengary Plaza, under construction, nothing much to say about that. Just if you live up that way, it's handy to know. The EV networks, North Lakes near 99 Bikes, still coming soon, this one. This photo was from November 2023, so I don't believe it's open yet. And there seems to be... I did this on Monday, so I don't think, from what I could see, there was actually a charging session. Or I generally check the comments to see if people are saying they've left a green tick that it's online and things like that. So you'd expect it to be online soon. I mean, God.
It's not on the chicken app.
Yeah. The chicken app?
It's not on the chicken app. It's not there. Yeah.
Moth.
Can't plug your chicken into it.
Come on, mate. It's dodging me. All right, another supercharger going in at North Lakes. Anyone know about that? You Tesla owners? I didn't know about it.
Is it going to be, do you think it's going to be all comers?
Time will tell. Time will tell. No, it's not commissioned, mate. No, it's still a construction site. But I didn't even know one was announced for there. There are. Oh yeah. What we got, Les? Murrumba Downs on the north side, at the Coles front and very prominent position at the supermarket. Opened at the end of November. We'll skip through these. Charge Fox Castledine, last time I mentioned it was question mark as to whether it was online. It's definitely online now. The 50 kilowatt is 40 cents and the 210 available on the 350 is 60 cents. Cleveland is still not open, waiting since August 23. Come on Gary, come on, help us out mate. Keep me out of the weather mate. You don't have to wrap them in black plastic then. So. Alex Hills is up and going. This got built way after Cleveland and it's up and going. I don't know what the issue is.
John, I think they won at Cleveland, but there's no 4G or 5G signal down in the car park.
Wouldn't surprise me.
Walk outside the car park.
Walk away from the car.
Does the charger need it? The charger needs it. Well, that's a silly decision to put it under a car park. No one has signal in a car park. Everyone knows that. Okay. I mean, EV networks are on a bit of a rampage, aren't they? This is the 8th one in this session. Pimpamar 150s. So point of difference there, the 150 kilowatt. 6. So now we're starting to see the multi-head rollouts. So 6 150s opened in the middle of December. It's good to see. Now Pimpamar, I don't know why Pimpamar is the charging spot because the sports complex had 3 50s put in there and now this is getting 3. So in their modelling it's obviously showing that Pimpamar, maybe because it's somewhere halfway between the Gold Coast and Brisbane, that it's a good spot. But I mean, most EVs now have range to go there and back, so maybe it's a safety thing.
Depends where you start.
Yeah, it depends where you start.
Yeah, good electricity.
Coffs Harbour.
It's a good spot if you're coming from the Sunshine Coast and you're heading.
But you don't want to get caught out, so you can stop halfway, can't you? Another Tesla supercharger going in at Tweed Heads. It's also, it opened in mid-December. Okay. Unfortunately, there weren't too many good photos of that. That was about the best one. We're still waiting on Goondiwindi for the phase 3 rollout of the Queensland Electric Superhighway. That's an old photo. Nothing's changed there. But Richmond, Cunnamulla and St George have opened at the end of last year and they all look pretty much like that. So we've got Richmond, Cunnamulla and St George. So only 6 to go and that's Goondiwindi. That one's the most needed, I think, to hook up with the NRMA chargers.
Isn't there already something at Goondiwindi though?
No. I don't believe so.
Oh, Tenterfield.
Yeah, Tenterfield's down the New England a bit further, so that's filling a gap, that Goondiwindi one. EV have changed their prices as of tomorrow. They're going to 50 cents for AC charging, they're going to 58 for 50, 68 for 150 and 73 for 350. Someone doesn't like that. Now, just on, before you change the slide, okay, on the actual thing I got in the email, it said up to 50 is 58. So where do the 75 kilowatt chargers sit on this one? I just charged on a 75, so where does it sit? So,
What did you pay?
well, it hasn't gone up till tomorrow.
No, but what was the previous price? Because it'll be...
It's 50. It's going from, it was 50 up there, yeah.
50, so...
I don't think before they had a 150, well, they must have had a 150, but this could be Australia-wide. I don't think there's any EV 150s around in Brisbane until they put that one in at Pimpamar, so I could be wrong, but I tend to know. I don't think there's any 150s. Anyway, price increase. Because we always expected it wouldn't stay zero forever, did we? For the new people that haven't seen this is just a general price indication for the price of petrol and diesel versus the price of charging your electric car, because if you have a car that does 7 litres per 100 and an EV that does 14 kilowatt hours per 100, that's a 2-to-1 metric, so you can take the fuel price and halve it and you'll get the EV charging price. So I just update this each month. Essentially electric at 50 cents a kilowatt hour costs $7 to fill up at consumption of 14 kilowatt hours per 100, as opposed to $11 or $13. Now the fuel prices, I tend to use the cheapest places around that you can get it, so it's not biasing like the fact that most petrol stations are $2.20 for diesel or things like that, so they're probably a bit more expensive in fuel. What we got? EV events. Just a few bits and pieces coming up. This weekend I found out that there is a Toka event down at Meadowlands, or at Carindale at the Meadowlands picnic ground. Essentially a EV meet-up with a game of backyard cricket and a sausage sizzle. It's on the Tesla members jungle. Hopefully I can get a link up on the AEVA Facebook page. I might send out one to the email group just giving the details, so everyone's welcome to go to that one. It's not Tesla only. Rob's actually here who's organising, so if you want any of the details, speak to Rob. On the 4th of Feb, Toka also doing a Parkwood Village Fun Day that seems to be an opening of a DC fast charger there as well. So, do you know anything about that one, Rob? Down the Gold Coast.
Sorry, what was it?
Do you know anything about the Village Day?
Yeah, it's basically Aaron installed it.
Oh, Aaron installed it,
So,
and they're going to have a grand opening.
yeah, and
So.
apparently the car dealership that's behind the AFL team down there is...
Okay, so they're putting on a little event. Yep. In a few weeks' time, Everything Electric Australia, the fully charged, rebadged, fully charged, is doing the Sydney Showgrounds. For those that weren't aware, if anyone is interested in going to that or planning to go to that, come and see me. I might be able to get you some free tickets. The next one of these hall meetings is on the 21st of Feb. And just a couple of later in the year things. Solar and Storage Live at the Brisbane Convention Centre. There's going to be a lot of speakers there. I'm actually going to be speaking myself. But I think it's going to be, most people have a lot of crossover with solar and batteries with EV, so I think that might be of interest to you guys. And the Noosa EV Expo has a planned date of the 16th of June. Right, a couple of little things that came up over the Christmas break. I don't know if you guys saw this article, but we're starting to see a bit more of, well, most of you might know the Gold Coast got pretty hard hit by storm damage a few weeks ago. There was an article in The Guardian about this young fella gets home dialysis, so I think they're out of power, mains power for 6 days. So they used their BYD to, power the dialysis machine to stop him having to go to the hospital. So that was an interesting article. I've got a couple other bits and pieces. Just a couple to check out on the Driven. Uber has launched EV-only option on their app. So if you want to order an Uber, you can choose to have specifically an EV. And I thought that was a quite interesting development.
It's taking Uber Green and taking it to the next level.
Yeah, I think you can just...
Yeah.
I don't use Uber, so I'm a bit unfamiliar, but you can already do something similar to that, could you? Or?
Uber Green, then you'll get
Is that
hybrid or an electric vehicle? Typically.
okay? Yep.
Now, in that comfort electric means you get only EVs.
Only EVs. Yep. None of this hybrid stuff though. Ooh.
Oh, no, not to ours.
Febs, but not hybrids. Shh, don't tell Gav. All right. Is that your plan? You banking on that? All right. And now, I don't want to upset people, but I don't know if you guys saw this. There was a plan for Energex to limit EV charging at home from solar.
From solar.
Yes. Well, if you have solar, they were gonna, because I don't think your smart charger necessarily uses the solar. It's drawing from the grid, right?
Unless you've got a Zap.
Yes, which I do. You know? But I don't think it actually uses the power that the solar panels generate. It just zero-sum games it from the grid.
When is an electron your solar electron, not a grid?
Yes, that's right, that's right. How will you tell? So there was, the new rule will allow EVs to draw up to 15 kilowatts from the grid at any one time. This is throttled back to 1.5 if the charger's active management technology drops out, or if Energex decides it needs to reduce the maximum import to manage the grid. The new rule for EV charging will start from February 2024, which is only next 2 weeks away, following significant backlash earlier this year against an initial attempt to manage EV charging in the QECM.
Queensland management area.
Queensland.
Yeah.
The previous edition required all EV chargers over 20 amps to be connected to as a controlled load.
I can quite with that.
Yeah, good, because you got your way. Well, you got an improvement.
No, I argue the other way. I argue
Everything.
that- No, just put it in the charger.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, but
Put the smarts in the charger.
yeah, the problem was that they needed more time to get them in. So they had all their designs all done.
Yeah, well, so be it.
But the UK's been doing it for 5 years.
Yeah, that's what I said. They're just doing like
All right.
it should just be.
I like the feistiness.
I really hope that the active management for these chargers is reliable, because I think there's a lot of frustration if we have chargers that are just dropping off network and suddenly dropping the charge rate.
Which is what the article actually says. It actually says, like, what if you just plan to go up the coast?
You've got to hope it's reliable.
Yeah.
You're complaining you're charging something and you're charging.
You wake up in the morning, you decide to go for a drive up the coast, you're at 50%, you want to quickly throw in 100 Ks, 150 Ks, and you just whack the charger straight on and it's going to go. Computer says no, you can have 2 kilowatts.
You can plug it in your normal wall plug and get more out of it.
Yeah.
A normal wall is 2.3. That's
Yeah.
really less power than it's.
I know, mate, I know. See, this is why I put this article up here. Come on.
The Zelweekers have been managing your hot water for 20 years. They've got it down pat.
So you think communication is robust?
What's up, mate?
There's
Do you want to say something?
there's API.
We're just going to say, I can go for a presentation and do 50% for the next month.
That'd be good.
Out there.
Good.
How this works, because people need to understand this, how that works, so that they can actually.
It's different charges.
That'd be lovely. I would appreciate that.
The thing that's missing through this whole bit here is incentivising people to get on board with this. Like every other jurisdiction in the world has, where they'll throw a little bit of money, 300, 400, 500 notes, whatever it is, at you buying a compliant unit. So that's what they've done in the UK, and there's 100% compliance with this kind of unit across the UK. No one buys a Tesla charger, they all buy the other ones. And so, unfortunately, the horse is bolted on this.
Yeah.
And there's 80,000 cars out there, whatever the number was, 33,000 cars out there, and all of them have dumb chargers, rather than smart charger, which they could have done, told them about 6 years ago.
Well, that's because we're all convicts, mate, and we're a bit slow. All right? The motherland, they know what the story is.
Well, no,
All right, let's move on because
That's it.
too feisty.
You're right there.
Yeah, but it's time to hear from Graham.
You would have a separate off-the-grid system.
Yes, a lot of people will island. If well, you could do that. People will island their systems. I'm actually thinking about doing it because.
Get hybrid.
There you go, mate.
Yeah. Hey everybody. Okay. I'm got to be over here, all right? Okay. Sorry about that.
On the X.
Oh, okay.
Better busy than bored.
Hey?
Better busy than bored.
I guess so. I'm never bored. We'll be at Sydney, by the way. We're going to be showing down there. We're going to be talking about the battery upgrade. So if people don't know me, some time ago, Francisco and I started developing the battery upgrade for the AEVAs. We took an AEVA that factory brand new, had a range of around 120. Those cars are doing something between 220 and 240, maybe a bit more. Added one pedal driving to those cars, added another 30 k's to the range. So we've got one with the one pedal driving. We're getting around the 260, 270 out of that car, which is really, really good. The cars are great cars, the AEVAs we started with. They've all been looked after by their owners, except the batteries are depleted. Did the upgrade. We expect that battery to last a lot longer than the original one because we've doubled the capacity, so therefore the batteries are effectively working half as hard. Our program was always to go on to the Nissan Leaf and the Outlander. The Nissan Leaf, we've just finished the second one. We're getting, we put a 52 kilowatt batteries in these cars. We're just testing them at the moment. The first one's getting just on 300k range. It seems to pick up and learn a little bit more range as we go along, so we're still coming to grips with that, and that's another car that we still haven't added our vehicle control unit to, so we could add other features to those cars. And then this one here we finished basically a week and a half ago. So we come up with a battery solution, and the boys, Francisco and Paul, came up with pretty much the same thing, but Paul didn't want to continue on with the project, so I took it over and we completed this particular car. Mal owned this car for quite a while before. And what range were you getting out of it when you last had it?
17, 16.
Okay, cool. So with the battery, we've only just put the cells in and tricked the car into accepting the cells. That was a little bit of mucking around, but we got there in the end. So this car, when we fully charge it, gives us 50 kilometres indicated range. I drove the 50 k's and then it went to three little lines, and it went probably another 10 or 15 kilometres after that before the motor kicked in. So I'm thinking that at the moment it's probably a good 65, but the indicator's not giving us that. Francisco's in Italy having a holiday, so when he gets back, VCU time, we'll update it. I'm expecting somewhere between 75 and 80 as an EV only range. Clearly Mal look after that car, because when you drive it, if I held my hand over the 220,000 kilometre range that it's done, you would not think it. You would think that car is probably looking at 60, 70,000 k's. It drives beautifully. Now, the whole thing here with fixing up these older cars is about extending the life of these cars. They're very expensive when they're made new. They're actually quite expensive when they're worn out. I mean, what I paid for it, I think it was way more than I should have paid for it, but I paid for it cheerfully because it was the cheapest one I could get anyway. So the second-hand EVs, like an old Nissan Leaf with 20 or 30 or 50k range left in it, and they're asking $9,000 and $10,000, $11,000, that's 3 times what it's worth. The car's basically spare parts when it gets to that age, and that's where it becomes viable to put a new set of batteries in it. And then whenever we do these batteries, what we want to do is we want to bring it up to as close to the current vehicles as we can. Now, if we get 300 k's out of an electric car, okay, that's not quite as good as 350 in an MG or something like that, but it's pretty damn close. So that car becomes practical and usable again. We also, like I said, because we're using twice the size battery, we're expecting a lot longer lifespan. We're not working those cells as hard. So we're reclaiming a valuable resource of older EVs. And I can tell you, when they build these things, because they were so expensive in the day, they were well built, So we expect the next car we'll be looking on, when we get these 3 under our belt properly, will be the i3. And after the I3, well, then we'll readdress what we're going to be doing. But we're growing, we're actually exporting. I've probably sent about 30 units over to Europe. So we're sending them to America, South America, New Zealand, there's 3 or 4 places around Australia, Holland, Poland, Hungary. So that's the different countries we're sending them to now. And we're just starting. We're really just starting. But anyway, that's it. It's not really much to show you. It's just a plug-in hybrid. But we've taken it from basically spare parts to something that we should be able to drive for at least another 10 years or so. Anyway, that's where we're going. That's our future. Oh, if anyone wants to have a look, that's the pack. That's the ones that Paul and Francisco did. The cells are actually physically slightly smaller, so there's a gap between the cells. So I've noticed that the battery cooling has never came on since we did this. We've probably done 200 kilometres in this car, and we flogged it, we drove it like we stole it, and the air conditioner to the battery pack hasn't turned on that we can determine. So I'm thinking that the extra gap, the bigger capacity, those cells aren't warming up anywhere near as much as they used to maybe in the original.
So the previous cells that you removed, they were a slightly larger form factor, touching next to each other.
Very close, I think a couple of mil gap, yeah.
And now you've got 5 or more.
More than 5 mil, yeah, but pretty big, yeah. Just so everybody knows, the old cells have gone on to a second life. There is a group called Substation 33. Now, if you're ever driving down the road and you see one of these solar-powered road flooded sign sort of thing, that's got the cells that came out of the AEVAs and this car now. So they're all being recycled, getting a second life. I had 12 years worth of truly dead lithium-ion batteries and NMC batteries. I had a wheelbarrow load after 12 or 13 years. They had to go to Willawong to be properly processed. But every other cell, just so when naysayers tell you that they go to landfill, that's utter rubbish. These all go to a second life. There is a military contractor, they make drones, they also use second-hand IMEV cells, and there's probably about 5 off-grid power walls floating around that are also made out of IMEV cells. So these will do the same thing. The Nissan Leaf, I've already got appointments, guest speaking spots with men's sheds. They're going to be using Nissan Leaf cells to make power walls, I think, like yours. And we're going to develop that program so people can DIY their own power walls safely. So that's the program for us. Hey?
I've got some old cells that I'd likely get involved at part of the men's sheds.
Yeah.
Sounds great.
Yep, so that's where we're going. We expect the Outlander packs, I've got orders rolling in already. You know, I've already ordered enough to do 5, 6 cars, and they're pretty much all sold. So we're just going to our workshop won't be doing much Suzuki, it'll be doing mostly Mitsubishi and Nissan. Any questions? Mitch?
Is the BMS on the pack or is it in the car?
The BMS is in the car on that one. Yeah, the IMEV is in the pack. Hang on, that's not quite correct. The U67 minicab vans and the IMEV cars are in the pack. In the U68, they put it inside under the rear floor. So they rearrange things. But from what we do with the little back box, we just tap into the CAN bus wires anywhere in the car. And if we got 12 volt CAN bus, the thing works. Anyone else?
The charging side?
Sorry?
Charging?
We can speed up the charging, but we sort of chose not to. Because again, we're trying to extend the life of these packs. So we figure that if they can charge a car in about, like a IMEV in about an hour, that's the charging rate. I have had it, we've had supercharged, we've made it DC charge at a much faster rate, but then we heard the air conditioner coming on to cool the pack. We're thinking, well, you know, why risk it? Yep. So we just balance it off. Yep.
You'd imagine though that the used price of these cars will come down in the next few years because obviously it's more 100% battery electrics coming in and the age of these will pay as well. So I'd say it will be a more competitive proposition as we go on than less.
So the question was, you know, or the statement was that the price of the vehicles should come down as they get older and age. That's sort of what should happen, but when we did the IMEV upgrade, all of a sudden they actually came up because you could repair the vehicle. So again, they gained value. Interestingly enough, some IMEV sedans have sold for more now with the battery pack upgrade than they did when they were new.
I'm not allowed to publish this video for 1 year, Graham said. You've got to get all the Outlanders in and hodl them.
Yeah. So so that's our thing. You've seen the conversion we do and the classics. And like I'm very proud, but I'll tell you right now, I'm lucky to make anything out of those cars. That's a passion to do those for those people, and I stand 10 foot tall next to some of those cars because I'm so proud of what the boys and I have done. But the bread and butter money for my business is to focus on resurrecting or repairing older EVs. We actually have EVs sent to us from Nissan dealers and from Renault dealers because they can't fix them, or they've quoted stupid money to fix them, We had one that was a Renault and it was just the charging lead, the EVSE lead. They'd quoted him $22,000 for a new battery. These dealers are not interested in electric cars. So people like me and Francesco and all the other EV repair shops, the not dealership ones, we're going to be very busy because the dealers don't care. They're not interested enough to work out their own problems. So that's where the future lies for us. So that's why we're investing time and money on these battery upgrades and repairs. We actually do exchange reconditioned chargers for the IMEVs now. We're looking at developing repairs for the Nissan Leaf. And the other thing, when we get time and money, is we're going to look at retrofitting three-phase chargers into cars where they had single-phase chargers. So if you only had a 3 kilowatt charger on board, let's change it out for a 22 kilowatt and have a three-phase or something like that, or 11 kilowatt and a three-phase. But whatever we do, we want to make it an improvement over what was there before.
What's the turnaround time, Graham?
This about 2 or 3 days. Yeah, not long. Any other questions? Yes.
Mitsubishi's customer relations department particularly well.
Oh,
I can guarantee you there's business coming your way. I'm communicating two today, but I've spoken to you two today as well.
No.
Questions I've got though, is it the same battery chemistry? And did you address or need to address the built-in assumed degradation algorithm?
Yes, the answer is it is slightly different chemistry, but not enough difference for the car to be too perturbed by it. The gasometer is having a little hissy fit. It keeps going up and down, and who knows, it's a bit of a, I turned that off. I just went straight to the petrol little map with the wheel and the battery, and I just look at that. Because if I look at the numbers, I'm too busy looking at the numbers and trying to work out. But all that becomes sorted once we put our vehicle control unit in it. So we open up the extra range, we straighten up everything as far. It's really a communications package between the cell chemistry, if you like, and the car. So we're basically modifying the numbers to suit what the application of the battery is, which is what we did with the IMEV.
I think one of the bigger concerns over the longevity of those vehicles have been the built-in obsolescence algorithm assuming a certain rate of degradation by age and kilometres.
I don't actually agree with that, because I've had a few people come in with cars and I've spent hours and hours and hours, and I've done all the tests, I've done all working it out, and I do that, reset the capacity routine, and then I watch after 3 charges, you're back to where you were. So it is accurate. It isn't I don't think it's a forced degradation, I think it's a real degradation. I'm curious to see what happens with these after 6 months, and we're going to check out that degradation. I think this will fix that problem because we're starting with a much larger pack to begin with. The other thing too is whenever we do this, we don't use the whole battery. We leave a half a volt buffer at the top and a half a volt buffer at the bottom. We've got an extra, 0.5 a volt that we can access or something like that. But we've got way more capacity than the original NCM cells, and we've got room for a buffer at either end that we hope to extend the life of the pack. So in other words, if you got 10 years out of the original one, we're hoping you get like up to 15 out of the new one. And I think after 25 years, the car's buggered.
Yeah, colourful.
Yeah, yeah,
I'm at 38%, 120,000 kilometres, so
yeah.
10 years is a bit of a stretch for some.
Yeah, well, he got 220 out of that one. You know, I mean, it's amazing. Anyway, so, hey, we'll get another 220 out of it. Let's go for the 500,000. Yeah. Yeah, no. Who brought him? Any other questions? Oh,
I just wanted to remind you, you were fascinated by something when we were driving over tonight.
oh, yeah, no, but these guys, it fascinated me, but it'd be old news to
Come
them.
on, Graham.
No, I was just watching the whole trip here. I mean, we left with 19 indicated. We got all the way here on EV only. I don't know how it worked before, so I don't know enough about Outlanders, but I would have thought that was pretty unusual, yeah.
Well, you only normally had about 40k range, 40 to 50 to start with. What did you have new?
Yeah, 50. Yeah.
But you got it really early on though, didn't you? Or you got it pretty early on though, didn't you? Oh yeah.
So,
I think it's
I bought a demonstrator a year old and it started at about 40.
Yeah.
40.
well, this one 50 straight up. The first charge was 50, but it did degrade, and then it went up, and then went down, and I was doing my head in. I thought, I'll wait till I put the black box in, we'll straighten it up, you know. But I think whatever is happening within the car, it's a little bit confusing, and whatever the algorithms, whatever the programming is for the gasometer, it's struggling with whatever, you know. So, but again, that's the whole idea of our little vehicle control unit is to look at the erroneous codes, straighten them up, send on the right code, and basically do our maths straight off the battery pack, forget about anything else, you know. So that's probably a very simple way.
Question, please,
Yep.
Graham. So you did the Mitsubishi AEVA, and now you're doing the Mitsubishi Outlander.
Yeah.
Was there stuff that was very similar, or stuff you were expecting to be similar was very different?
Oh, no, I expect it to be pretty much... I'm actually expecting Francisco will cop into it and find the codes are identical.
Yeah.
You know, so just to give you an idea of the timeline, with the IMEV, we spent probably 18 months working on the vehicle control unit and the CAN bus codes. When we did the next car, which was a diesel Grand Vitara for a conversion, it took us 2 days. The third car was a Hilux, took us 3 or 4 hours, you know. So once you understand it and you've got your software and all your programming in your head and on your laptop, it becomes very quick. Our next step is actually to get somebody to write an app for a phone, because all the gear we do has a Wi-Fi on it, and we can then just use a mobile phone and app and we can fool around. So we're trying to make it easier every time we do a modification. Although, having said that, sometimes there's weeks worth of work for Francisco to make things easier. So if I didn't have Francisco as a business partner, so to speak, or a collaborator, I wouldn't be here with this yet, you know. So yeah, and then vice versa, probably things I do that he wouldn't have thought of, you know. So it's a good collaboration between the two of us.
Just one other question. With your business process, are you stacking, do you have a spare pack that you're building when the customer brings theirs in, and you're just putting it straight up and in?
We could, but it's just having room, and I mean, it's easier.
So you're not doing those?
No, it's easier for me to just book in 3 or 4 or 5 cars in a week, and we just start the first one, just roll through them, you know. So while we're pulling one apart, we always fully charge the old pack, so we got a reference point. We found early piece that we didn't know if we had a problem with the original car, or so we got to do a full test on the car, full charge, then we pull it apart, put the batteries aside, put the new ones in, put it in, and usually we can turn a car around in a day and a half. Once we've done the physical work, it's just a matter of plugging in, leave it somewhere to sit quietly and fully charge. Once it's fully charged, it's a quick test drive, scan tool, make sure there's no error codes, and that's it. The first cars we did took us 2 weeks to do because of a lot of messing around. Nowadays we've got it down pat. The day and a half the car's in and out, and then probably another day of charging, because the first charge is always the longest. Just so people understand, while it might be a 5 or 6 or 7 hour charge in the wall normally, it might take 28 hours because it wants to balance those cells. So once the cells are all fully balanced, they all go down together, they all go up together, they stay fully balanced for most of the life of the vehicle. But it's that first charge, that takes quite a while.
Sorry to hijack this whole conversation. I've got another question. It will be the last one. Right? Obviously, I was quite interested in this. So when you're getting the packs, have you had a look that it's full pack degradation versus single cell degradation?
I see, yeah. Occasionally is a single cell, but the other ones aren't far behind it.
Yeah.
So if you've got 88 cells and you've got one that's popped, and popped means it's had internal overheating or a short out internally, usually that stops the car. But once you find that, you've got to assume that all the other cells have done the same mileage. And I have been caught where people have begged me, said, I just put one battery in, I put one battery in, and then a month later saying, the car's broken again, what did you do? And I said, well, I did what you wanted me to do, Oh no, that cell that you put in was no good. And I'm going, hello, what about the other 87, And yeah, no. Of course people get upset because they've spent whatever $1,000 or so to have you do this, even though you told them not to. So nowadays they say this rubbish. I said, no, take it somewhere else. I'm not interested. Because I don't need the emotional drama that goes along with trying to save someone $1 and they get up you, So, so if it's got one or two cells gone, then, I don't know if anyone saw that video I put on the other day. I dropped Gamish, he's not here. He had a little white van. This Indian fella that comes here normally. He had a little white van and we dropped it out, put a new battery pack in, and we found 2 extra batteries laying on top and they jumpered it in. So they took cables and undid it. So they actually, instead of having 88, he had 90 cells in there and just these cables. So no BMS, no nothing. And they were already starting to swell. I'm going, oh my God. So just a quickie. So that car, its charger is set up for 88 cells worth of voltage. Put 90 in, so all of a sudden you've added 8 volts to the total pack voltage. So the other 88 are not going to get fully charged. The charger and everything's going to think, we're full. Not only that, they're not even monitored by the BMS. So those 2 cells, and they were getting overcharged. So it was. I don't even know how the car went. It should have picked that up as a fault. But anyway, yeah.
I think you need a shameless plug too. How can anyone who watches the video contact you and
what are
your details?
Oz Electric Vehicles, if you want to jot it down. The phone number is 3808 7637. We're at Springwood, just on the south side of Brisbane. Oz Electric Vehicles, Oz DIY Electric Vehicles. You can just Google us, you'll find us, But don't all ring at once, please. That is part of the trouble of running this sort of business, and we had a TV show. I'll talk about a TV show in a sec, but we had a TV show on tonight, and I was getting 300 emails a day, and then after a couple of weeks I was getting abusive emails because I didn't reply to their emails, So it was like my full 3 or 4 weeks of doing nothing but trying to respond to these emails. So I actually got good at cut and pasting the same emails, and that's what he asked, or we just did that. It was just madness. And I mean, out of it all, maybe I picked up a dozen clients, which was really good. But man, it was a lot of work. But talking about TV, Robert Llewellyn and the Fully Charged show will be at my shop next Tuesday, doing an interview on the battery upgrade programs. They think we only do IMEV, so it'll be a bit of a surprise when they roll in and they see the Outlander and the Nissan Leaf stuff. So I think they'll be happy. Yeah.
Your details are up there, mate. So
there we go. Cool.
That's the classes.
Yeah, we do. If people are interested in learning about building their own cars, I'm more than happy. We do classes. They're every 3 months now. I just don't have time to do them once a month anymore. But yeah, we do classes, teach you how to do your own. I'm working on a program of teaching people how to build their own power walls shortly as well. I don't know how we're going to do that, but we'll work out some format of going out to people's groups and teaching them at their. We somehow have attracted a lot of I don't know what you call them. Is it off-grid communities or
preppers? Yeah.
Preppers, yeah. Anyway, I shouldn't.
I'm not a prepper.
No, they're all nice people. Yeah, sort of communities that are into going off the grid.
That's a swanky name.
Yeah. Anyway, so and they know that I do this, and they know that I've got plenty of cells, and they're all very interested in having their own off-grid power walls. And like I said before, I've done a few of them. And so we're going to devise, hopefully with Francesco, devise a kit that's easy enough they can just buy all the bits. I'll show them how to do it, teach them how to do it, they go take it home and do their own, you know. So that's very much the field that we're moving into, is more of the factory car upgrades and what to do with the old cells, and don't let them go to landfill. They don't. If anyone ever tells you that batteries go to landfill, just give them an uppercut, because they're talking rubbish.
Second life battery, are they under the pump financially once these real batteries, new batteries come in at a cheaper price? The second life batteries will be under the pump too.
Oh yeah, but I mean, second life. You're not doing it to make money. You're doing it to save the planet, to to help people, cut costs, and it's all about the community environment. If people talking about. He was talking about second life battery operators, and they're there to make a profit. I mean, we all are, I suppose, but you don't have to make a huge profit. But at the end of the day, it's all about, with us, it's all about education, educate people, And I'll just quickly touch on one other thing, because I've got a lot of people saying, "Oh, just send me the parts, I'll put it together myself." That's never going to happen, because if you're talking about the live packs inside these factory cars, you could do a lot of damage in a heartbeat. There's already enough people that do their own little operations, and they've burnt out vehicles. They give EVs a bad name, but it's because they've fooled around with their own cars. They don't know what they're doing. So I only go through licensed installers for what we do, because we've trained them, make sure they've got all the safety gear. They're just not doing it in their backyard with their mates. And the trouble with that is, when they do, if they haven't done any sort of education at all, next thing you know, I'm spending days on the phone talking them through how they messed up and what they need to fix their problems and all that sort of stuff. And I simply don't have the time for that.
You got a question, mate?
Where?
On the stream. I have a 2020 Outlander with 60,000 on the clock, and while a full overnight slow 2 kilowatt charge used to display 45 kilometres available every morning, now it's showing 35. How can we check ourselves if it's simply our driving style being different, or that the battery has lost its ability to be fully charged?
Change your driving style, and see if the results change, I suppose. But like if you want to, most workshops have got a scan tool. They can scan in and have a look at the battery, and if they know what they're looking at, they could sort of work that out for you. But with the Outlander and the factory batteries, there's only one way for the capacity to go, and that's down.
Well, it's a FEV, so you can run it out.
You can, yeah.
So, just check the odometer and drive.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Just press the odometer.
Check the odometer and drive and test it.
Yeah.
Because the GOM is a guessometer for a reason, like it's not always accurate.
Yeah, just so anybody doesn't know, GOM is guessometer. That's just, it works on a whole bunch of mathematics, and if you drive it like you stole it, GOM number's going to be down. If you drive it nice and steady and you're very economically driving it, the numbers will come up. What it's doing is trying to work out what mileage you'll get under these exact circumstances. You turn the air conditioner on, it's going to go down. Turn the heater and the air conditioner on, which someone did once, and they said, "Oh, my range just disappeared." I couldn't work it out. I had to look inside the car and said, "Well, you got the heater and the air conditioner on." Oh, okay. Anyway, so it doesn't, guessometer doesn't help you with if you're not very smart, okay? So, but yeah, with your question, I would think that just do a couple of tests, try driving habits differently. But in any case, this is a common story with Outlanders, is the capacity drops off fairly rapidly, Yeah.
All right, thank you very much, Graham.
Thank you.
That was very interesting content. Just on the back of the recycling of batteries, they're not going into landfill, 100% agree. And once lithium batteries are produced, they're far better to recycle into new batteries than digging up new stuff out of the ground anyway. So there's just another reason why they don't go to landfill. Stephen, you want to come up and have a quick chat about your brand new car? Thank you for bringing it in tonight. It's lovely.
I don't know if I need that. Everyone hear me? I'm pretty
Yeah, it's for the video, mate.
Oh, you
so,
got a video?
yeah.
All right, well, I better do it. I'll hold it here so that at least the camera can pick it up. Up here? I'm good at talking. I'm not very good at standing in front of cameras, obviously, though. So yeah, look, thanks for having me here, and thanks for the invite to bring the car and show it to the group as well. As was said, it is new to me. I've had it for probably 5 weeks now. It's our second EV. Our first EV is a Model Y, and my wife loves the Model Y, and I'm lucky that she loves it because I get to drive that. And I'll be honest, if the Model Y is on the driveway behind that, it's getting moved out of the way so that I can drive that. I just love it, you know. What I love about that car is that I got in it and it's like a car. You know, I'm not tapping the screen too much. I've got a shifter where a shifter should be. I've got an indicator where an indicator should be. I've got my windshield wipers where the windshield wipers should be. Everything's where I'm used to it being. Just get in it and drive. You know, it's got its positives. It's also got its negatives. The Model Y, for a family, I think is a great car because it's got so much storage space in it. I was absolutely blown away when my mate showed me his and pulled 2 camp chairs out of underneath the subfloor. So for that purpose, it's great. The Seal's probably more aligned. I keep seeing the videos, the Tesla killer, and I just roll my eyes because it's not. It's what it is. It's a Seal.
Much more aligned to a Model 3 in a size and shape.
Yeah, it is sort of, yeah. If you look at them, like I've got a picture on my phone that I took of it beside a Model 3, and yeah, you can see the similarities there in there, but when you look at them side by side, and I'm happy to move one out beside this Model 3 that's out here, you'll see that it's a very different shape. It's much more robust in the front end, and it looks a lot bulkier and a little bit taller as well. The Seal, for those of you who don't know anything about it, it comes in 3 variants. It starts at the Dynamic, which is a rear-wheel drive, smaller motor, has a few of the bells and whistles removed for that. Price range in that's in around the 50,000. This is the Dynamic, which is the mid-range. It's a $62,000 car on the road. Part of my reasoning behind it was I was looking at a 3. This came out. It had, this has got Android Auto included, it's got Apple CarPlay included, it's got a 360-degree camera included, it's got rear cross-traffic alerts. It's got a whole heap of bits and pieces that I thought, yep, that's interesting. That one's 2-wheel drive, 2 rear wheel. And then the other one above that is the Performance, and the Performance, it's 0 to 100 3.8 seconds, all-wheel drive. This one only does 5.7 seconds. My old XR5 Turbo, which is probably the next fastest car I had, and at the time it was as fast as the GTIs, it was a 6.7 second car. Can I drive that to its capacity on the road? No. That was my reasoning to go with the mid-range rather than the Performance. I'm not going to be able to do 0 to 100 in 3.8 seconds anywhere in Brisbane. I was saying to some of the people who came and had a look at it that my figures for the last 24 hours of driving are as I've averaged 22 kilometres an hour in peak hour traffic, which is what I usually drive in.
What's your consumption for that sort of period?
Yeah, they're around about 16, yeah. That's what people are seeing.
A little bit higher, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's a bigger, heavier car than the Model 3.
Is it?
They're a heavier car and they've got a bigger battery to make up for that.
How big's the battery?
Good question.
85 or something, isn't it?
A little bit bigger.
It's a little bit bigger, it's a little bit heavier. So
Same price as a Model 3.
It's got a lot more range.
Model 3 is actually, that's 62 on the road. When I went to buy that, the Model 3 was at 70. It's come back down to 68.
Like it's literally $63,000, $64,000 for a Model 3 right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's come down.
Yeah, but this has got more range.
Yeah.
Has it?
Yeah.
Not at 1.6 it has it. Not at 160.
So the on paper figure 650. What people are seeing is around 540 on the open road.
A long trip to see.
I don't do long trips. Yeah, this is the other thing. The charge speeds on the BYD Seals is it's quite a lot slower than others, and particularly around the Tesla. But for myself, my driving is around town. If I'm driving, if I'm going to Melbourne, I'm on an aeroplane. I don't put myself through multiple hours of driving unless I'm in my combi.
Vehicle to load.
Yeah, so we've got vehicle to load. It comes as well, proper leather interior.
You used it?
You used your vehicle to load?
I have. Because, and here's a good trick.
Coffee machine.
Here's a tip for everyone. Do not, because you've got free power or free charging in the middle of the day, do not come home and plug your car in while the dishwasher's on, while the washing machine's on, while the air conditioner's on, and then forget about the fact that your pool filter's about to come on, because it'll blow the fuse out on the
Did you do that?
out on the pole. Exactly. We were wondering what happened. So I had to run a fridge and a couple of other things off of it for a few hours while I was waiting for Energix. And the guy said to me, "I'm impressed with what you've done, because I don't see this happen very often." Yeah. Leather seats.
They're 80 amp, aren't they? Out on they're 60 or 80 amp out on the power.
Ours was 60 because we're in an old area. Yeah. But sorry, I was just going to say leather interior, comes with a charger, it's only a trickle charger, comes with the vehicle to load, comes with the blind that goes in the roof. The roof's silver plated, so it doesn't heat up like we see with, I see with our Y. Comes with properly tinted rear windows, not just privacy glass. Front windows are double glazed.
There's the consumption figures just there, mate. Yeah. So it actually says 16 kilowatt hours per 100 and quotes combined 570.
And if you do the maths, it doesn't work.
Yeah, all I know is what the guys on the Seal page are telling me that they're doing. So I'll go with what they know.
Any questions, guys?
There's lots of them. Who was first? I couldn't. Yeah, is it? There you go. I can plug a fridge in, and apparently it'll last me for 3. Apparently, it's up there.
I don't think there's any car that has more than 3 kilowatts.
They're all. And I've got to say, I'm the least technical person here. That's the one thing I love about the car. I can get in it and I just drive, and people ask me questions. I don't know, I just drive it.
What's that, 15 amps or something?
Yeah.
15 amps.
You mentioned empty out driving, empty out traffic.
Yeah.
How do you invest your one pedal drive?
I don't actually like one pedal drive. I like to drive cars. I like to come into the corner and know that I'm going to put my foot on that brake a little bit before I get to it and then push out again. I don't like getting in my Tesla or our Tesla, and we've got a very steep driveway, and then just sitting there and going, oh, that's right, I've got to push the accelerator so I can go down this very steep driveway. It's personal preference. It does do it somewhat, but it's definitely not as strong as a Tesla. Absolutely not. Yeah. Who was next? Oh, yeah. Service intervals are once a year, pretty much, is where we've got to go in. But at the time when I was looking at it, and I'm thinking, well, I'm, at the time versus the Tesla, I was about $8,000 cheaper. I thought, if I've got to spend $300 a year on a service, big deal. Yeah. Yeah, and it's for me, there's one just at Stafford, and I live at Albany Creek, so I don't have to go too far. And what are they going to do? I'll only be there half an hour. They're going, oh yeah, that filter looks good, and the coolant's still okay, and the brakes, they're getting a bit rusty because you're not using them enough, and see you later. Yeah, but yeah, I understand that to me, when I first was thinking about it, I was like, what a pain in the arse, but then I'm like, whatever.
I'm guessing if you had to tow, you use a wire lift towing capacity, but did they end up confirming the 1.5 tonne tow?
They haven't had it approved in Australia yet, and they haven't got any roof racks for it yet. The biggest thing I'll be towing, I've been driving cars for 41 years now. That's hard to say. 41 years, and I reckon I've towed 10 times in that time, except for a bicycle rack on the back. That's pretty much it.
One of the reasons I'm staying with that, right?
yeah, I don't tow and I don't drive long distances. So I'm probably the wrong person to ask about that stuff.
What was you talked about lots of good bits. What were some of the bits that sort of surprised you and maybe disappointed you versus expectations?
The biggest problem, and if you're on any of the BYD pages, you'll hear a lot about the ADAS. The ADAS in the Seal is still, they still need to fine-tune that a lot.
You might want to explain what ADAS is.
Yeah, so ADAS is your lane, keeps you in the lane, and it'll push you, it'll go, hang on, you're going to crash off the road for some reason, and it'll push you back into the lane. So on these, it's a bit frantic. But you know, it's like I've had the same problem in our Model Y too, though, where it's just going, next minute we're pushing across the road, but this one just needs some fine tuning. The other disappointing thing I think with it is it has got the underfloor, you know, in the boot where you can store stuff. Like a good side of it is they give you a tyre repair kit. The bad side of it is that the tyre repair kit I made up for my Model Y is about this big. The one that they've created is this big, and it takes up like half of the underfloor. And it's like, you know, why? The app is terrible. The app is pretty good at opening a door. You can turn on your air conditioning. You can open your boot, but it doesn't do, you know, like a great example of something it doesn't do. With the Model Y, if I put my charger on and I get up in the morning and it's already hit 6 and we're not quite topped up, I can go and just turn it back on, top it up. That I've got to get up, go downstairs in my pyjamas outside. Oh, hang on, I've forgotten the key. Come back out, unlock it. They have a key. They have a tappy card that sits in my key box, and it's got an app as well. You can drive just on the app, but you know, I carry my key around just for fun.
Okay. Any other questions, guys? All right.
Come and have a look at it if you want.
Yeah.
All right.
We'll be hanging around for a little bit, won't we? So, thank you very much for that. Appreciate that. Just to underline a few things, so 16 kilowatt hour or 16.6 kilowatt hours per 100 is not 570k range, it's 500. So I don't know why they insist on conflicting information like this. So one's obviously from the test. Yeah.
There's about 5 different versions of the owner manual.
Oh, is it? Updates?
And it's all different.
Yeah. But yes, it's very nice. If people ask what EV should they consider, I definitely do tell them about the Seal. Obviously, there's so many Model 3s and Model Ys that people generally tend to know about those, but they don't tend to know about the Seal. So, like I said at the beginning, it's a very strong competitor for the Model 3. So, I'll be looking out for them. So. That's it for tonight. Can I just ask a quick question? Is there any EVs you would like to see in the hall meetings coming up this year? Considered like the EV9, but I don't know if it'll get in here. It might have to be an outsidey, or it could come up the stairs, but I won't tell the hall committee about that one. All right. A truck, okay. The Dolphin, I was going to do the Dolphin next month if I can get it here. The BYD Ute, yeah. Yeah, we'll have to wait for that. Maybe at the end of the year. The Cooper Born, yep. You want to see that? Aura Cat?
Have you had a cat yet?
We haven't had an Aura Cat, no. All right, any other models? Anything coming up that people are interested in?
Well, I've been trying the Porsche for a take care.
Never misses an opportunity to say take in, does he?
Maybe a Macan when it comes.
A Macan? Macan? All right, guys. That's it for this meeting. We break now, and there's tea, coffee, chocky bickies in the kitchen for you guys. Milk's in the fridge. Help yourselves. Thank you very much for coming. And Rolls Royce. Yeah, I'll definitely get one of them next month for sure. All right. Thanks very much.